Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the TKOH Podcast, but it's a special one because we have our second interview. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she is a fan of Phil, as always, but not only that, but she's also the TKOH admin, the TKOH's very own foeZ.
Hello.
Now, before we even begin with anything, we're going to ask the age-old myth, okay? How do you pronounce your name?
It's pronounced foeZ.
foeZ.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
So everyone in the TKOH forums, it is now foeZ. So pretty much it rhymes with lose, if I would be correct.
Yes.
So foeZ rhyming with lose. It's okay. So and rhyming with foeZ would be a bit more appropriate.
I'm gonna write that down.
All right. So
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down too.
everyone write it down who's a part of the forums. Okay. So your name is foeZ. But where does that name come from? Because it's a very unique type of a name. It's small caps, FOE, capital Z. So where did this name come from?
It's from way back when I just started online gaming. I used to play a lot of Unreal Tournament Classic, and there was a clan there called foeZ, and it was spelled FOOZE, and that's where it came from. But in Dutch, my language, the OO sound is written as OE, so I made it foeZ, but with OE and a Z.
Is there any reason why the Z
Yeah.
is capitalized?
No.
No, it's just,
I just thought it looked cooler.
and indeed it does. It is iconic in the TKOH forums. So
I just stuck with it.
yeah, and obviously, it's not like any other username. Like if you look at the admins, you've got Darkside Phil. Okay, that's a normal name. You got Chris. Okay, that's a normal name. Teo. Okay, that's a normal name. foeZ. You know, it's really weird just if you look down the staff here. Oh, interesting. So obviously, everyone here knows you as the admin of the TKOH, one of 4 admins in the TKOH forums, but probably the most active in the site. So obviously, you joined the site and you were a fan of Phil. But when did you first find out about Phil?
It was like half a year after we started doing YouTube videos.
Oh.
I was in the hospital, and I had nothing to do at all. So I was spending a lot of my time on YouTube. And since I was really into gaming and I didn't have a PC or an Xbox or anything back then, I was watching people play games instead of playing them myself. And I really liked Phil's videos. So I didn't even have an account back then, so I couldn't subscribe. So I just kept finding his name over and over again for certain games. And I just used the automatic related videos function to click through each of his videos. That's basically how I started watching his videos.
That's so weird because that's how I actually watched Phil's videos from the very beginning. I didn't have a YouTube account, and I was just trying to find him and a list of popular games. I was like, okay, where's Darkside Phil? There it is. So you've been following him for quite some time, and you've been with him through all the trials and tribulations of Blip TV and all that there. So since you do have a lot of experience of DSP on your belt, what would you say has been your favorite DSP moment answering one of his questions that he asked in the forums, if any, or a list?
There are a lot of moments which I found really interesting, entertaining, and funny, but the one I found the most funny was when he was playing Fallout New Vegas and he murdered an entire town while he was drunk. And then a few videos later, he came back and he was like, "What the fuck happened here?" And the best part is for him there was a night in between. But for me that was literally 5 or 10 minutes between. So it was really, really funny to see just skip through the part where he kills him, then skip through what the fuck happened. It was hilarious.
I remember, way back when in Fallout 3, he would always play that game drunk, and there was I think
Yes.
was there times whenever I remember like he would just start like killing himself and stuff, and he'd be like, "What the f happened?" I think like he would be in like the train station and stuff, like the train stations in Fallout, whatever, like their whole bunch of like traps and stuff just laid around, and you just walk straight into them, and he was like, "Oh, what the heck happened, dude?" And then like was he drunk whenever he had the infamous naughty nightwear moment? I'm not sure, but
I don't remember.
yeah.
But I just love his drunk videos. They're awesome.
Fortunately, Phil is wise. Like he's wised up now, and he's no longer drinking during his videos, which is miss, but nevertheless. So you joined the site, and you became a moderator, you became an admin, all that. That's like the really short of it. But coming onto the site and eventually becoming like a modern admin. Have you ever had any like website experience? Like, have you ever been on like forums before? Have you ever had some sort of power in like websites before?
I have administrated several forums before, including my own. But those were all very, very small forums. Like, there are certain web browser games like Nuke Zone and Travian, and on those websites, you didn't have anything to properly communicate with your team actually. So I created my own forum for those things, so we could communicate and coordinate stuff like that. When I created my own forums, it was like a community of maybe 12 people. And I just administrated that. Like, it's basically just set it up and make sure people register, ask to get permission, and then just discuss the stuff that the forum is about. But the King of 8 is just on a whole nother level. It's giant, massive.
Now speaking of the website, how did you find out about it in the first place? And how did you sign in? And what can you tell us about it?
Well, when Phil made his announcement video, I immediately went to the website and signed up.
Yeah.
I was one of the first 300, I think, to sign up. That's basically it. I just signed up after I saw his video, and back then it was still the basics of the basics. It was just a MyBB forum with a shout box that Presenteo implemented.
Oh yes, the shout box.
The shout. What can you tell me about the shout box? What can you tell about the audience?
Back then there weren't a lot of people. It was mostly the same people that used the shout box. A lot of people were just registering and not posting. It was 50 people that were actively posting back then. But it's been a really long time, so I don't remember if it was actually 50 or something, but it felt like there was 50 people. There was always 10 to 15 people on the shout box, and it was really, really tiny, so it was difficult to see when people were very active in the shout box. There was also a lot of stuff there where just trolls would come on and just start spam shit, and it was really, really bad. Really bad.
And what can you give us a memory of the older members of those 50?
I don't think there are many of them still active on the forums. I do remember a few of them, but they have gone quiet. They don't visit the forums very often. They do once a week, once a month.
And what can you and why do you think that?
I think that people just after a while they find other stuff that's interesting to them. It just depends on what you can do inside the community. I mean, when you register on the forums, there's at first you've never been here, so there's a shit ton to read.
Yep.
Once you've read it all, you are limited to the stuff that gets posted every day, which is still roughly 300 to 400 posts a day, but still, after a while, you get certain areas you're interested in, like the anime or the wrestling section, or just the Xbox, PC, whatever. And you start narrowing down your interests, and when that section becomes less active and you realize that you're not very interested in the other stuff, there's just no reason to actually come on the site every single day.
Mhm.
I can still remember
But, yeah, that's, yeah.
like in like earlier in like the really early times. I think I signed in about the first week, and I remember I had my name DSP dog, and that was in violation of the rules, which was, was a
And,
bit.
and I remember, and I don't know if you remember me, but I'm Captain Fireworks. And when I first came
Yep.
here, yeah, we had some good times at the younger time, and you know, it's such an honor talking to you, and you know, I'm happy. So anyway, so anyway, to the next question, what is the reasoning behind your ideology? Like, can you tell us about like your relationships with other people, your staff? Like tell us about moderating. Give us like some examples.
Well, when I just joined the site, I wasn't a moderator at all. I was just a member.
Okay.
And when the chat box was still there, Chris and Theo were the only people that were moderating the site. I repeatedly offered them to help them improve the chat box because I'm a software developer and I was pretty confident that I could make the shout box better and more user friendly to like be able to stop people.
Right.
But after a very long time, because that was like my first initiative to become something more for the website, like maybe a moderator or an administrator. But like straight off the bat when I joined the site, I wanted to help more.
Right.
It took a while for Chris and Theo to actually take notice of it, but I was fine with it. They then chose 2 moderators because practically all the users were begging for it. They wanted moderators to keep the trolls out of the chat box mainly. After that, everything went fine for a while.
And would you
eventually, yeah?
Oh, I'm sorry. Keep going.
After a while, Chris and Theo decided that to take another group of moderators. A lot of those chose to quit or left or got banned or just didn't feel like moderating. But we still have Peachy, who is one of the very first moderators and currently the longest moderator on the website.
Oh yeah, he's
And
great.
then that's all new people. But like, when Peachy got chosen to be a moderator, there were like 5 other people. I think he was one of the 6 moderators that was chosen. At which point we had like quite a lot of moderators. I wasn't one of them, but I did donate back then. So I became a premium member. I was still trying to like report stuff just to help out the moderators, but like back then the community was just a lot smaller. We had a lot less people, and we had a lot of moderators, so it wasn't really that necessary. After a while, certain moderators started like not coming anymore. One in particular, I can't remember his name. It was something to eat. Something cupcake or whatever. And he just didn't log on anymore. There were other moderators that were too busy doing other stuff. And eventually the users started asking for more moderators. And Chris and Theo decided to recruit another batch of moderators. And that was Namtua, Phantom Ryu, myself, and someone else. I don't recall who else, but like us 3 were there. After a while, Namtua got other stuff to do. He was too busy with life, and I think he is no longer a member of Forums at the moment. And then yeah, just Phantom Ryu and myself are still moderators, alongside with Eternity, Tulane, the first batch of moderators, basically.
Okay.
Phantom Ryu and myself and Namso were moderators. And Naughty Nightmare and Kitsune were moderators before that. They were promoted to senior mods.
And do you miss them?
Regular mods. Sorry?
And do you miss them?
Not really.
Now,
But
quite
like, yeah,
obvious-
yes?
Quite obviously, since you just explained how you became a mod, how did you become an admin? How did you make that transition from a moderator to an admin?
Well, at first I was quite happy to be a moderator. I tried to do what I can to keep the trolls out, and back then it was quite a bit more hectic. There were more trolls, more haters,
Oh yeah.
people trying to log on and just abuse other forum members and stuff like that. So there were quite a lot of tough decisions because I had never moderated a forum this big before. And the other forums that I moderated and administrated, it was a lot easier because you once in a while had someone that didn't agree with each other and you were just down to shut up and they would shut up. But that wasn't the case in this forum. So a lot of people were in need to be warned or thread closed or just banned from the shout box or stuff like that. And it's quite frustrating when you really try to do your best, but obviously when you lock a thread by someone or you ban someone, you're gonna get hate from that person. They don't want to get banned. That's not what they want. So it's frustrating when they come back with other accounts, like 15 fucking times. And every time they do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Ranculous.
Oh god.
They just try to do their best to piss you off and make you look bad. Some people appreciate it, other people are friendly with those people and don't like it. So you're always going to have like two sides of the story. People that like what you did and the people that don't like what you did. So I was getting quite sick of that near the end. I think I was a moderator for a good year, or almost a year. And I was just absolutely sick of it. So I decided to quit being a moderator with the intention of trying to become an administrator. And why I wanted to become an administrator is because I didn't want to deal with most of the shit that I was getting, and other moderators as well, by the way. It's just tough on the moderators, but like, I quit and I said, I don't want to be a moderator anymore, and then I PM'd Theo and Chris, and I made an improvement to the website that was online back then.
Uh-huh.
It was just a small thing with some basic scripting and stuff just to make it look cool. And I said, hey guys, look at this. I can still try and help you out with the website, because back then the website wasn't compatible with Internet Explorer and only Firefox and Chrome. So I thought to myself, if I may, I would like to make a website that works in all browsers. And I let Theo and Chris know that, and they were considering it.
Mm-hmm.
I made a website, and Chris and Theo liked it. They said, like, Theo gave me access to the FTP and the database and stuff like that, so I could put the website online. When I did, it looked, well, in my opinion, obviously it looked better. A lot of people liked it. Some people thought it was a bit too boring. But it was an improvement overall because it was visible in all browsers. At that point, Chris and Theo decided to make me an administrator without displaying me as an administrator. So I was like an administrator a week before anyone else knew I was being an administrator. The reason they did that was to allow me to get comfortable using the admin control panel. So I used that week to poke around in the admin controls. While I was doing that, I also had access to the moderator forums and stuff like that. So I was aware of what was going on, but I wasn't actively participating in the moderator duties. Theo and Chris, I sent them a message saying that I really don't want to be a moderator, and I just wanted to focus on improving the website and the forums and stuff like that. And Theo said, like, look, I'm working on a new design for the forums. Can you help me out with a few styling issues? So I helped him out with the styling issues. So the forum design that we have right now, the red, green, and blue one, that's
yes.
something I worked on.
Oh wow, it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Theo started it. Theo was the one who started working on this design, and I just helped him out to tweak a few things to get rid of some design bugs and like the posts at first. You know, we have a post which has a default size. It's like a box. At first, the box was only the height of the actual text that you put in there, so you had like really, really tiny post boxes. And I helped Theo to like make them the same size, unless you have a lot of text in them, then make them taller. Like the forum banners, stuff like that. I helped a bit with that, but it was really not really a big deal. Like also the user image on the left side of a post that also had some minor issues in them. I also helped fix those to make them look decent. It still has some issues with long usernames, because long usernames without spaces in them tend to go out of the box. But I really can't be bothered to fix that at this point in time.
Cool.
So when I did help do this stuff, they were quite pleased with it. So Theo was like, okay, I'll announce to the forums that you're going to be made an admin. And what do you want me to tell them? And then we made a post saying that I would be an admin only to help out with the website and not do any moderating stuff unless it's actually really, really necessary. Which was fine at first, but after a while I did get involved in moderating, and it was
Quite
quite...
honestly. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was not really fun, I find, for everyone, because the post actually said that I wasn't going to do any moderating, but after a while I started doing moderating anyway, so a lot of people were like, oh, you didn't say you were going to do moderating, so why are you getting involved? Stuff like that, but that's basically how I became an admin.
So, like, did any relationships in three categories? Like, how did your relationships change between normal, average Joe forum members with the staff who you were previously moderators alongside? Like, how did some of them take the new now an admin and technically, you know, one step ahead of them? I don't really like to put it that way, but you know, some people might think of it as that way. And then finally, like, how did your relationships change with people like Chris and Terry who are now working aside, rather than, you know, kind of, you know, rather than them kind of like telling the mods what to do, like now you're kind of working alongside them, and especially working alongside Phil pretty much now. Like, how did your relationships change with all three of those categories, starting with regular forum members?
Well, when I was just a normal forum member, I chose to be friends with certain people. It was just because, in general, I like them. But like, the longer you know people, the more you found out about them, and after a while, you might not like them as much as you did before. So I don't think being or becoming a moderator changed any of that particularly. I just think that the longer I knew certain people, I found out stuff about them that I didn't like, and probably the same for them. Like, they thought I was a fun person, but after a while they didn't find me any fun anymore or something like that. But like, going from a normal member to a moderator didn't really change that much. There were some people that didn't think it was a good idea, which there always will be. But there were also other people that thought it was a great idea. So my relationship between people didn't really change until I had to do moderator stuff. Like, sometimes you have to do something, and some of your friends don't agree with that, and they try to talk you out of it, but you have to do it anyway. So that might have struck. I'm here getting a lot of static.
I don't know where that's coming from. But
But like, once you start doing actual moderator stuff, certain people are going to dislike me more, and because they dislike me more, they are going to act different towards me, and then I like dislike them more. So I don't really think that the problem is becoming a moderator, but more with the responsibilities that come with being a moderator. Like, the stuff that you have to do doesn't always fare well with other people. I've had some incidents with people that I was friends with before, until I had to do certain stuff as a moderator, so it's just it's difficult to explain. It's not like I dislike those people just because I became a moderator. It's just like my interests changed because I had to do other things. I had to change my attitude towards the community, and I had to do stuff that other people didn't like, while the other people that didn't become a moderator didn't understand why I have to do those things, or simply disagreed with what I was doing. So it's not really a personality issue, it's more a responsibility issue. I had responsibilities, or I thought I had responsibilities that needed to be carried out over favoring other members. I've always been a big fan of putting everyone on the same level. So if I know someone and they did something wrong, I would do something about that just the way I would do it with someone else that I didn't know.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I actually did that. I try to do that at least, always. But I don't think that a lot of people saw it that way.
pretty much you weren't having like, you didn't have some sort of like favoritism attitude where it wasn't a case of like, oh well, I wouldn't only punish me, but I'm a friend of yours, so I'm just gonna let you off. Like, you were straight, you were kind of like, you treated everyone the same, pretty much.
That was my intention, yeah. But I don't know if I always did that. I mean, I'm only human, so.
Mm.
But that was always what I tried to do, yeah.
Yeah, and people are just evil in some ways, you know.
People
Whatever.
might try and like swerve things out of direction, like, oh well, if I did this, then it's not fair because you let this person off with, I don't know, with something stupid, and you know, people always try to like attack you left, right, and center, which is, it's just something that, you know, people do. They're like, oh, but you know, it could come down to like a many reasons, like, but probably jealousy is the main one. Like, oh, she gets to like speak to Phil and all there. Well, actually, speaking of that, there, like, since you became an admin, obviously you've had to work like alongside Phil in terms of like this site. So like, how does you working with Phil kind of like work out for like handling the website, for like polls and stuff, or if like Phil needs an announcement made? Because I think there was something like pretty big that happened. I'm not sure what happened, but it was like, it wasn't recent. It was like a while ago. Whenever like Phil had to do something with the website, and like you were a coordinator for. I'm not sure if I'm even making sense, but but anyway, back to the question. Like, how do you like work alongside Phil in the website? Like, how does it work?
Mostly I try to leave Phil to do what he does, and Phil lets me do what I do. It doesn't happen very often when Phil asks me anything or I ask Phil anything. The main reason is because Phil is busy doing his thing, and I consider it my job to make sure Phil doesn't have to worry about his community. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So, it doesn't happen very often, but when I created the website, I obviously ran it by Phil first to ask his opinion, to find out if he liked it or not. And he said it looked cool, so that was the first time I actually worked alongside Phil. When I was a normal member, I saw Phil on the chat box a few times. When I was a moderator, I talked to Phil a few times in the chat box. And I also tried private messaging him, but not always would he respond. But after a while, he said that I was pretty okay. So that was like a bit of a motivation to do more. So I talked to Phil a bit more after that, and we talked about what he likes, and I transformed that to the website. Like, he was not really very interested in the community. I mean, it was very, very nice to have. He was stoked to have a community. It was really great initiative of Chris and Theo to start it up. But as an administrator, I felt that I needed to do more. So I started doing stuff to the community, like adding certain forums, updating the website, making sure his videos look okay. And I also asked Phil if I could put advertisements on the actual website, like the ads on the forums are Theo's ads, and the ads on the website itself are my ads. So in the long run, I am getting paid via the advertisements, which is kind of nice. So far,
That's good.
So far, it wasn't like a major amount of money, but like it made up for the work I put into the site after now X years later. So I think total it's slightly under 200 euros in total that I've made off of advertisements since that the website is up. So I asked him if I could do that, and he said, "Oh, yeah, sure. You made the website. You can put on it whatever you want." Other than that, we don't really talk that much. Occasionally, I send him a PM if there's stuff that I don't feel comfortable handling without Phil's backup, or when the community says something and Phil isn't aware of it. I am kind of a medium between the community and Phil himself, or at least I like to think of myself as that. Like when the community says, "Phil, you're out of line with this and that," and so, I feel it's my responsibility to address it to Phil and get the support of the rest of the staff. But other than that, it's not like we are very close friends and we talk every day. We have had some conversations of like an hour, 2 hours long, and it's quite fun. But other than that, not really. Phil is too busy doing his work. I'm busy with my work. I handle the forums. I have a life outside the forums. So I just leave him to do what he does in order to make money, and I try to make it so that Phil doesn't have to worry about the community. That's basically it.
So it's pretty good that you have the status of like not only like catering to the community but to Phil himself. So if like there's a astounding like demand for something, like actually a good example that we could probably put forward. I'm not sure if it was you that forwarded this to Phil, but I'm pretty sure somebody did whenever it was in the suggestions box, whenever it was a way to revive the forum community, and a bunch of people, like including myself, and like I think it was people like Derry, Dark Hado, Troll Drill, a bunch of people like that there, and the Golden Shotgun, a bunch of people that are all addressing.
Bless you.
They're all addressing. Such a gentleman. You're all addressing. How can we make the people in the community? How can we make the people in the community stay? I'm just gonna ask you this here as like a personal question. Do you kind of agree with I think it was Dark Hado's original question? Do you agree with his interpretation that there's a tendency in some people in the community to come on and then just, do something like just participate in contests made from DSP or ask a question and ask the king? Do you think that is a problem worth addressing, or do you think that it's a bit that it's not that big of a problem to be addressed initially?
I don't really consider it a problem. I mean, it's nice to have an active community, but you can't force people to come here, and you can't force people to have fun here. Like when Phil did his contest, he did one contest. He was giving away something, not sure, and the thing you had to do to win was to give your favorite playthrough of Phil, and he would then randomly select someone from the comment. When he does something like that, or when he says, I have put a poll up on the website, you can find it in the description. Whenever he does that, you can see a significant spike in activity. So a lot of people just do the forums for the community. They just come to the forums because Phil did something here. So I don't really consider the community to be inactive. It's just that there are certain people that come to the forums because they want to interact with other fans of Phil, or got attached to certain areas of the forums, like the playthrough section, or the Xbox section, or the wrestling section, or whatever. And other people just aren't interested in that. So when you say stuff like, do we need to revive the community? I don't think reviving is an issue here. I think it's more of how can we make the community more interesting so that those people who don't come here because they want to come here, but come here instead of because Phil did something that they want to vote on, it would just help us out more to make the community interesting, but I would definitely not say that the community is not active at all. We get like at least 300 posts a day, which is quite a lot.
So, do you a few points that were brought across were things like Phil should maybe mention the website a bit more in his videos. That was something I brought up, and I kind of still stand by it. I also said maybe he should be a bit more active in the website, which he does. Like he started being a bit more active in other sections of the website. Like for example, most recently he was he spoke quite a lot in the wrestling section in the forums. But then I do want to get your opinion on this here. A user called I won't even name him. A user then if you want to find out who it is, just check out the thread. It's on the suggestions box. But somebody brought up a point that maybe the moderating staff in the site isn't doing enough to fight back trolls. Now that's an interesting kind of predicament that he brought up. I'm not sure if you noticed it, but I remember there was a little conversation going on whenever a bunch of people were kind of thinking, that might be true, and and what his interpretation was that people like the target audience for this website is a bit immature at places, and you find places like the anime community, which of course with this not to try and bring that up, would get like attacked often, and people feel that moderating in other sites would be a case of if two people start arguing in a thread, then a moderator would contact them and tell them both to cool down, and if they continued it, it might lead into like a suspension or whatever. But he did bring up the fact that the moderators aren't doing a good enough job for in terms of like keeping people under control and fighting back trolls, which I think we should all know by now who we might be talking about. And
Rankulus.
Rankulus isn't on the site anymore. Or at least.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Excuse me.
We'll save that for later. Don't worry. But yeah, he also was saying stuff like general posts about like that are like a word long should be like shunned upon. And all this here. But yeah, his general point was that if the moderating staff did a better job of keeping people that only stirred trouble or didn't have any relevance to say, was a key component in not letting people stay in the community. Now, I wanted to know, what's your response to that interpretation?
If you are a user of the community, of the forums and stuff like, you have a very different perspective than a moderator. When you are being the target of abuse on the website, it doesn't always get perceived as abuse. Like, you may feel targeted by a certain user, but that isn't always the case. But what I see often is people think they are getting abused, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly, and they just take it until they've had enough, and then they make an angry post about it, and they say, oh, the moderators suck, and oh my god, how can this happen, and why are we being abused, and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you feel uncomfortable with certain people for any reason, you can always create a ticket or PM a moderator directly and say, this user has been saying this and that, or has been doing this and that, and I personally feel that he is trying to have a go at me, or something along those lines. But they don't do that. They just wait, and then they make a post about it. So I'm not saying that the moderators aren't doing, the moderators certainly can do stuff that to avoid that, but as a user you can't expect the moderators to pick up on the little things that you find inappropriate. Like, some user might say something and another user might get offended, and being someone on the staff, you might just see that and you can't tell what the other person is feeling. Like, we can't always see if someone is being trolled. It might just be someone who is really bad at typing or stuff like that. So saying that the moderators aren't doing enough to keep the trolls back is a bit harsh. We do everything we can to help out everyone who has a problem with other people in the community. Like, if there is a complaint, it gets picked up almost immediately. Like, you can send a PM to anyone on the staff, and usually within the 24 hours it's addressed and most likely fixed. But if you think that certain areas aren't being addressed, then why don't you address them yourself by contacting a moderator and saying, look, this is the problem, that's what's going on, and I think this is bad because any reason. And then the moderator will actually take a look at that, but you can't really expect the moderators to be psychic and know what you're talking about.
Exactly. I mean, like, someone might have, like, a problem with something, and as a mod, you have to take responsibility, but you don't know who exactly to believe, because anyone can make up some story to get rid of somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part, and I respect that personally.
So this kind of leads nicely into the next big thing, which a lot of people really would want like full clarification, because in this area a lot of people bring up a bunch of rumors. There's so much like false information going around in the site, and there's so much like some of the stuff is going on. And finally, we're going to get the proper rundown as to what really happens. And this is some of the King's interesting history, and what a better way to start off than with the dynamic duo of the moderating world. Two people that you might be seeming like a little bit familiar with, and those two people are Kitsune and Naughty Nightwear. Now, first of all, you did mention earlier that they became mods. They were very active in the community. People always thought, oh, you know, they're really good. They're really, you know, they're really active. They're really friendly. Naughty Nightwear was a bit of a troll, but Kitsune sounds really nice. She sounds like a really nice girl. She put up photos of herself. Yeah. She put up photos of herself on the post a pic of you thread, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, Rhett, you have someone that's quite attractive in it. However, yeah, people thought that you could look at the thread, people were like, oh my gosh, you know, this girl's quite, you know, attractive. However, things did take a turn, and I think foeZ, you're probably the best person to explain. So tell us exactly, in full detail, what happened in the Kitsune and Naughty Nightwear incident.
It's a very, very long story. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible. But basically, when Naughty Nightwear and Kitsune were moderators, they were moderators when I became a moderator myself. They were just normal moderators until Phantom Ryu and myself were chosen to become moderators as well. And when we did become moderators, they were promoted to senior mod, which means that they were supposedly have more to say about what the normal mods were doing. I didn't look at it that way. Like, I would go to non-nightwear for advice on certain situations because I had no idea what the protocol was for handling issues. And it was all fine and dandy up until a certain point when I did something on my own initiative and he decided to change it without telling me. And I didn't agree with that because I consider everyone to be equally on all levels. So as staff members, you have to be a unit. You can't really show weakness to the rest of the community. And when a certain moderator does something, you have to back that up. You have to support that decision, no matter what. If you disagree with it, then bring it up with that moderator and convince them to do it differently or to apologize and undo it or whatever. So you can't really say, like, this moderator did that, I don't agree with it, so I'm going to undo it, no matter what he thinks. You can't really disagree with each other in public because a lot of community members will get caught in the crossfire when you do that. And that's basically what happened between Northern Nightwear and myself. He was in the chat box a lot, and I was trying to support him as much as possible because I want to be a unit. But he did certain things that moderators should not do. And because he rubbed me the wrong way, I decided not to support him any longer. Not openly, because that's not any of the community's business, with all due respect, of course. But
oh no, it's cool.
Like, there are things that you can and cannot do when you are a person with power, and using your power consciously or subconsciously, indirectly or directly, to discriminate against certain people is not acceptable. Like, to be specific, there was a user named Joey on the chat box. He's a very, very young community member. He was often discriminated against by Northern Nightwear in this case for being very young and childish. There were other users on the chat box that said things that may not have been the most intelligent thing in the world, and Northern Nightwear looked down upon that, and I usually kept my mouth shut. I sometimes agree with him in the situations that people say stupid shit on the chat box, and that I would prefer chat box to not have any activity instead of retarded activity. Like, stupid discussions that just don't need to be there. I would much rather have nobody talking than two people arguing, for example. I would agree with Nightwear in that aspect, so I did agree with him on some points, but he was going a bit too far. So I brought it up with Theo, I think, or Chris, and they were like, yeah, we have been getting a lot of complaints about Nightwear, and that was like the first staff member. I was the first staff member that actually confirmed what a lot of community members were saying. So they decided to do something about it, and they removed Nightwear's moderator abilities for like a week. And after a week, he was going to get them back. But obviously he was not amused. He became pissed off and started trolling. And not like subtle trolling, like hardcore trolling. He was insulting people. He was trying to turn certain forum members against certain other forum members.
Like a war,
And-
basically.
Yeah, if you want to put it that way. War is a very, very big word, but he was, he was not amused, and he wanted to do something to make the person responsible for his abilities being stripped feel as bad and as angry as he did. Or at least that's how I see it. That's how I see it as my side of the story. But what it basically boiled down to was he did not take it like a man, so to say. And he got pissed off and he started doing things that were just not acceptable. And he did something that pissed off Phil himself. And Phil said, okay, that's enough, now you're banned. And he got banned from the site. And he came back. He refused to believe that he was actually in fault or at fault. So, what it basically came down to was him disliking Phil a lot. He disliked Phil, he disliked the community, and he became a hater, quote unquote. So, he was only in the community to cause trouble. He did not enjoy the community. He wasn't a productive forum member. He wasn't adding anything useful to the community. He was just causing trouble. Which was kind of a combination of his own fault and my fault. Because it basically started with him doing something I found unacceptable, bringing it up with the administrators, and they doing something about it. Then he blamed me for it. And Not Network and Kitsune were very close friends, as in they talked a lot on the site, they talked a lot outside of the site, and to say the least, he or she did not agree with Not Network being removed, moderators removed, and being banned from the site. So Kitsune came online and started blowing up on the chat, calling me names, doing stuff with the moderator abilities. Like, I had built up quite a bit of reputation, and that was all removed. Then I was banned, which was undone by Chris and Theo shortly after. And then those two became quite the haters. But that's basically the short story. What happened in detail is like all moderator / administrator stuff. Like, we had serious discussions with Chris and Theo, and it was rough on me. Because it was basically Kitsune and Night Nightmare, who were two senior moderators on the website, against me, who was just a normal moderator on the website.
That's not right.
Yeah, that's
it's their fullest right to try and turn things in their favor. I mean, if I feel someone has done me wrong, I will obviously also try to defend myself and do something about it. But if they are actually right, or if what they are doing is actually productive for the community, is a whole other story. Like, they could have been right in their own minds or in the minds of other people. They were obviously not right in my mind. And you have to look at it from Phil's perspective. What is good for Phil? Having two moderators that are pissed off, that are using their powers to have a war, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Or to just let it go. And I think that letting them go and removing them from the site was better for the community in the long run. But obviously in the short run, it was a nightmare. A lot of controversy and people being pissed off because obviously if you're a moderator, you're someone that is being looked at. You make friends, you make enemies. So a lot of people were happy to see them gone.
Mhm.
A lot of people were pissed off that they were gone, which turned towards me, obviously, because I was blamed for them being gone.
Well, haters gonna hate, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, but it's not easy to deal with that because you get an overwhelming negative feedback, like, why are you here? You are at fault. You're doing everything wrong. It's not easy to just be like, haters gonna hate. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if someone tells you every single day you come home, like you're worthless, you start feeling bad. You just don't want to come home anymore.
It
So
never is
that
easy
was-
to deal with that.
Yeah, so it was a bit tough for me to come back to the forums every time and still convince myself that what I was doing was the right thing, even though a lot of people said it was not the right thing to do. I think that time has proven that what I do for the community is actually not bad, because if what I was doing for the community is bad, then the community would be a lot worse off than it is right now. So it was good that I convinced myself to come back and to do what I need to do.
Mhm.
But that's basically, a long story short, what happened between beginning moderators of the website and myself.
So, moving swiftly from two evils to one, I actually never knew who Rankulus was until he showed up on the infamous "Why I Got Phil Kicked Out of Blip.tv" thread on the was trolling now haters section of the forums. But to anyone, including myself, who didn't know, who was Rankulus before we all knew him from that there thread that Phil made?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, Rankulus was on the website since day 1 or 2. He was childish, immature, to say the least. He was on the website, he was offending other people. And not just small offenses, like real racist, sexist, hurtful stuff, like, yeah, nothing pleasant to listen to say the least. When we didn't have any moderators, he would, like, try to befriend certain people, and when those friends of his were gone, he would abuse other people until his friends came. Then those people who were being abused would turn against Rankulus, and he would be like, I didn't do anything, and then his friend would, like, defend him and say that Rankulus was cool and I don't know what you're talking about, and then the other person who was being abused would actually become the victim of misinformation, if you know what I mean. So he was banned several times because when Kitsune and Nadia Edward were made moderators, I don't know, wait, Nadia Edward wasn't a mod back then, I think, but Kitsune was for sure. And Rankulus, like, offended Kitsune quite badly, and it was way out of line. So Kitsune banned Rankulus, and he came back, like, multiple times. It was, I think he had at least 20 accounts.
Wow.
Because
20?
moderators, yeah, at least 20.
What a
Because
no life.
moderators,
What the? Who in the
Yeah, but
hell has
moderators-
20 accounts? On a forum?
yeah, he must have made like 20 email addresses as well.
Yeah, they get
I
like
was
IP
quite
banned
perplexed.
from all that there.
Yeah, but like, moderators can't IP ban
It's
people.
on the app.
Only administrators can do that. So, back then, Rankulus could come back anytime he wanted because he couldn't get IP banned. Just make a new account, come back, do it again. I helped out spotting Rankulus because he did the same thing over and over again. He tried to adjust, but Rankulus he's special. He had certain patterns in his behavior that even when he was trying to not be rankulous and just doing his own thing, it was not very difficult to sniff him out. And I tried to help out, saying like, this person is probably rankulous, you should check his IP and see if that's actually him. And more often than not, it actually was rankulous. So he was banned until he gave up. Like, he was still on the website. Like, he was on the website since day one, and I became a moderator like half a year later. So he was still on the website when I became a mod, because I remember banning him myself a few times. So he was really, really persistent.
So then later on in the year, I think, well, it was sometime whenever Phil was being on Blip.tv. To anyone that doesn't know, here's a little history lesson for Phil. Phil got laid off, obviously, in September of 2010. Then he moved on to Blip.tv. No, he went on to YouTube. He done, watch, rate, and participate, or crap as well, which is a comment, rate, and participate. He had those rules.
He got removed from the YouTube.
Yeah, he got removed.
He got removed from the YouTube partner program.
Yeah, because apparently he was abusing it. Then he went on, okay, everyone, let's go on to Blip.tv. A lot of people were a bit, annoyed about that there. He was doing a bunch of expansive projects, such as working with that guy with the glasses.com, which he revealed to us a couple of months ago. However, for no reason, he just, he just made a video and said, oh, I won't be on Blip.tv, starting next week, and everyone was like, what happened? Until we finally realized that some mysterious anonymous guy with Chinese, some anonymous guy with Chinese writing, that was his username. His username had a bunch of Chinese symbols, and everyone was like, oh, he must not be rankulous. I didn't even know what it said. Dude, foeZ, do you ever know what it actually said in Chinese, his username?
Something Sky.
Well, I'm sure if the lemon was around back then, he would have found out. But anyway, he made a huge post and said why he had Jewish friends and he was offended and he got Phil kicked out. I remember the first 3 pages. I don't think this thread exists anymore, but I remember the first 3 pages were all sympathetic. Everyone was all like, oh, well, there was a bunch of you mad comments and stuff and all there, and everyone was kind of like, okay, everyone, come on, let's chill out. This guy actually had a viable excuse, he actually he explained his reasoning behind it, let's put it that way. And then Phil kind of came out of the blue and said, oh, well, guess what, this guy's rankulous, and we were all like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was a pretty interesting thing. So how did that come about, in terms of figuring out that it was rankulous and stuff? Were you... I'm guessing you were a moderator at that time, I think. Mm-hmm. How did you kind of sniff out that it was rankulous once again? Did you just kind of look at the IP again and go, oh wait, that's rankulous? Because I think your first few posts were also kind of everyone should kind of wise up. This guy's giving some valid arguments. So how did you eventually find out that it was in fact just another troll?
Well, I don't think that it was rankulous, to be honest. I never said it was rankulous. I never thought it was rankulous. I don't know where it came from, but I just went with it. I don't really care. Phil said it was rankulous. I was surprised because I didn't know. If it was actually rankulous or not, that's not really any of my concern. Rankulous was banned. If Phil was just looking for a black sheep, or if it was actually rankulous, either way it wouldn't have changed anything. But I don't think it was rankulous because rankulous just wasn't smart enough for this. But
do we know for certain?
Yeah, do we know for certain? I don't know. But when Phil got banned from Blip TV or removed from Blip TV, it was quite a blow to him because he had no job, no income, and an uncertain future. Then this guy made a post on the forums, and because we have had a lot of drama in the community right before this post, we as the staff wanted to avoid another drama. So we said, like, people just shut the fuck up and let this guy say what he wants. It's his opinion. What he has done, we don't agree with it. That's fine. He did it anyway. Flip TV agrees with him. So stop being childish and immature and stop flaming him and stop arguing, because in the end it doesn't do the community any good. You're just going to create drama, and any new member that comes here and sees this is like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
Why are people flaming, and what has this guy done wrong? And maybe new members might not know Phil like the way he is, and he's like, this guy says Phil is racist, so he must be racist, and everyone else is a Phil fanboy, and it's just flaming this guy for speaking as a thing. Like, it was just not a good idea to condone the arguing that was going on. So we just basically told people, shut the fuck up, let's just try and handle this as grown-ups, which was not quite the best thing to say to a bunch of kids. But yeah, but like we didn't want to close the thread because the staff has gotten a lot of criticism right before that. Like people were saying, oh, the staff is closing too many threads. The moderators are being over moderating stuff. We can't do what we want. We don't enjoy this. So we just didn't want to close those threads because back then it was still the hater forum, trolling forum. So that forum was specifically made for people that want to hate on Phil. And yeah, but like that's basically what it is. People come there, they say stuff about Phil, and say Phil sucks, this and that, I did this, and look at this DSP cult leader video. The forum was intended for that, and people would always go there and say like, what the fuck are you doing, and why are you doing this, you're a hater. Of course you're a hater, he's on the hater forums. So, like, it got out of hand because a lot of people were like, why aren't you closing these threads? They are obviously not good for the community. They are just attracting more trolls. And when we did close the threads, a bunch of other people would come to us and say, like, why are you closing this thread? It's in the trolling forums. Why can't you troll the trolling forums? Like, we were getting criticism from all sides. So we basically didn't want to close it because it was a very long, legitimate, thought out post of a person saying what he did and stating his opinion, and people were arguing as expected. But like, if we closed it, people would give a shit for closing it. We left it open, so people gave a shit for leaving it open. It's just, you can't do anything right in that situation.
And it's kind of interesting that you bring up the I can understand where you kind of went with like the newer members, because at that time I still remember for a very long time, maybe up until DSP made that their competition you were talking about earlier. Before then, I think that was the most the most amount of members on the site ever, and it retained that spot for a long time. I'm not sure how many members it was at once, but it was a lot of, I think it might have been like 250 something maybe members on the site at that time, because Phil just made the video about some guy made a thread about me, and then like everyone just went straight onto the website. And then at that time, you know, it's kind of obvious that if you have all kinds of new people from like YouTube coming onto the website, then, you know, you would obviously want people to kind of say, stop trolling, you know, let this guy speak and all that. So it's definitely an understandable decision to make. But another thing, speaking of drama in the community of the King of Hate forums, there almost always is some sort of crazy drama whenever we come up to the infamous moderation picks, pretty much, where I think, I'm not sure how many times it's happened, I think maybe 3 or 4 times, when you've openly said to the community, I'm looking for moderators, whoever wants to do it can do it. And, you know, obviously, whenever somebody doesn't get in, or whenever the person themselves don't get in, there's always some sort of crazy drama, crazy controversy going on. So I think a question probably that most people would want to ask is, like, some people might think, oh, this guy this guy's been doing this for the community, therefore he should be a moderator, or this guy does this for the community, therefore he should be a moderator. And people just think that the more you post, the more likely you're going to be a moderator. But obviously, like, that isn't always the case. And for the community, could you explain what admins and other staff look for in a moderator?
Well, for me personally, there are 3 things that I try to pay extra close attention to. That's maturity, reliability, and responsibility. If someone has all 3 of those, like, that basically means to me, like, they can become a moderator and I can go on vacation for 2 months and come back and nothing crazy has happened. This person has been doing his job perfectly and he's very trustworthy. So that's what I think is the most important part of being a moderator candidate. Being active isn't that important in my opinion. Like, people have lives. We are all volunteers. If you can come on the website only once every 2 days, but in that one time, every 2 days, you make solid decisions and you do good stuff as a moderator, like you close threads that need to be closed, you help people with questions or problems that they have, then in my opinion, you are a good moderator, even if you aren't the most active moderator.
And, well, what was the final thing I was going to say? Flip, I forgot it. I'm an idiot. Yeah, so moderation, people always flipping out because there was obviously one infamous case that we're not really going to bring up because it was a very long story and I don't think many people want to know about it. But I guess the final thing that we could say for moderating is that the staff seems a bit. People might say, oh well, the staff is a bit limited. Oh, not many. I just remembered it, by the way. Not many people people think, oh well, there's a lot more members coming in now. Do you for you, since you're an admin in the site, for the people, another podcast exclusive, is there a moderation, volunteering session coming up in the near future?
Nope. Maybe in the far future, but not in the near future.
Who makes that decision? Is it is all the staff as a whole, or does it Phil, or you, or whoever?
Well, the staff can always make suggestions. Like the other day, we had a suggestion from some staff members that we might need new moderators. But I like to think that I have the final say in it, even if that may or may not be the case. Choosing moderators for the website is a very big and long-lasting decision, which will affect the future of the community as a whole. So it needs to be thought of carefully before we make any rash decisions. So whenever someone says we don't have enough moderators or the moderators aren't doing their job properly, I take a look at the moderator logs and I see what each moderator has been doing and how much I have been doing, because as long as we can handle everything or almost everything with the current staff, I don't want to take the risk of having a new, unreliable, untrustworthy moderator to just mess things up again, and maybe he could be a good moderator, but other people would disagree with the decision to make that person a moderator and would have a lot of drama to take care of and to keep people under control again. So it's just a lot more work than it's worth to get a new moderator, because right now we have a pretty solid team. Everyone is doing their thing. Some people do more than other people, but in the end they all make good decisions, and that's what matters to me. I mean, we are all volunteers. We're not getting paid to do this. We work hard to make the community as good and as pleasant as possible. If people say that the moderators aren't doing their job, why aren't you trying to help those moderators? Why aren't you reporting posts instead of complaining about it?
Mm-hmm.
If you know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is Smooth Shark talking, and I'm a rather new member to the TKOH forums. I know you guys have been there for a while now, so I was wondering, what are some of your favorite moments on the forums with the members of this place?
Well, I don't really have a very favorite moment. There have been quite a few memorable moments, but a favorite moment, not exactly. I mean, I have had a lot of fun on the chat box. Like, there are a lot of fun and interesting people to have conversations with. Some people are just downright silly and make stupid comments, and it's hilarious because...
And pictures.
Yay!
Yeah.
Hey, don't insult my pictures.
And check out the forum guys section if you want to find out more, because over 100 pages of forum chat, pictures, and yeah, just skim over there, and there's hilarious. Anyway,
It's a lot of fun, and you can actually also, if you look in older posts of the forums, you can also make out the evolution of how the community was in the past and how it is right now. A lot of people, a lot of new members, like to blow life into old and died out threads that have not been commented on for a year. And when you see those threads, like, as a moderator, some of those threads should just not be dug up anymore. So we see that. That's something we always see. And we go back to it and we close it and we remove the post so that the thread actually gets pushed back to the back of the line. Like, when someone posts on the thread becomes active again, which means that it will show up in your new posts list. And if you remove that final post, it won't show up there anymore. So sometimes when someone brings up a thread that hasn't been discussed for a very long time, we lock the thread, remove the post. But when we look at those threads, we see a lot of how the community was back then. And sometimes you just don't want that to come back.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, because there are just some things that are better left not said.
you're like,
Oh,
right.
Sometimes, yeah.
So,
But like,
do
it's
you
not a
think...
secret. I mean, sorry?
Go on.
Sometimes you just can't. Well, it's not a secret to anyone. You can read the old threads, but sometimes you just should leave them alone, basically.
So, do you think the forum has changed a lot? I mean, we've seen a lot of people, the originals apparently, are not coming to the forum as much as they did before. So, do you see any difference with this new members?
Definitely. Like, the community has changed a lot in almost 2 years' time. Like, you have to consider that when the community was started, we had nothing. We had just had a forum and 2 administrators. And it was basically chaos back then. Like, we had a lot of people who were genuinely nice and tried to help out the community and tried to have fun with other members.
whoa.
But,
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
yeah,
Hold on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very sorry for that. There was a huge, crazy static spike, but we're just let's not waste too much time on it. Let's continue with the let's continue with a little interview here. So, like you were saying, foeZ.
like, the community changed a lot. It's because certain people have certain interests and they talk about certain things, and those people leave and other people come in their place and they talk about other things. So the entire mentality of the community as a whole changed quite a bit over the years. So you have people that came for DSP, and they stopped being interested in DSP and they left. And then other people came who were interested in anime, and they stuck with the anime community within the DSP community. And then other people came who were interested in wrestling, and they stuck there. So you will have certain areas of the forums which have different feels to them.
Mhm.
And as a whole, that was affected over the years because a lot of the original members are no longer part of the forums. They have either left on their own because they didn't like what was changing, or they were banned because they did some things that was against the rules. And that was to the dismay of a lot of people. But as a whole, it made the community, in my eyes, more pleasant. And I think that when new members join the forums now, they are more likely to stick around than when they would have joined a year ago. But I don't know that for sure because I don't know how many members come and stay.
So, like, where do you see the actual site in terms of both community and actually the actual site itself? Like, where do you see it going in the near
you.
future and like the distant future?
Well, in the near future, I hope things will keep going smoothly. A lot of people in the community get bored, and when there's drama, they get excited, which is a lot of trouble for me. But I like it when things are quiet on the forums, not inactive, but like calm. Like people are just enjoying communicating with each other. They are making friends. They are reading and posting in threads that they are interested in, and I hope that that can continue for a while. When Phil does something, I mean, like Phil's job is very dynamic. It'll be always something different. There are tons of new games, and there will always be something to discuss on the forums because every time Phil plays a new game, there will be something to discuss about that game. And I hope that people will just keep doing that and not worry about making the community different, be it better or worse.
Okay, so I guess that was a very powerful end to your thoughts on the website and the trials and tribulations of being an admin and all that such. So now we're going to move on to forum questions. People that the DSP community have been asking foeZ. So some of these questions I have said previously in a post that all questions are split into 3 sections. They're
fantastic.
They've either already been answered, as in we've already covered them in the interview. For example, what does foeZ mean?
Freaking fantastic.
What does foeZ mean? We've already answered that. All there. The other one is they're pretty stupid, so we probably won't ask them. And the third one is questions we're actually going to ask. So the first question that we have, I guess it comes from DX Michael. We haven't exactly covered it very much, but aside from organizing the website and stuff, do you have any like hobbies, like video gaming, outdoor activities, etc.?
Well, I do have quite a few hobbies, but I try to focus on one thing because I can be quite competitive. So when I try to do something, I focus on that one thing, and I just try to do it to the best of my abilities. And when I have multiple things going on at once, it's difficult to be good at just one thing, or to be good at all of them. So I have done a lot of things. I have been hardcore into website making. I've been hardcore into Unreal Tournament on the PC, into Counter-Strike on the PC. I've played Halo. Yeah. I've played
Let me guess. You're gonna get Halo 4,
Yeah.
right?
No.
Well,
They
Yeah.
lost me at the Halo Reach.
Yes, nobody likes Halo 4. Except for Halo fanboys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Fireworks.
but like,
Oh.
like a lot of things that I do. I mean, like outside of gaming, I used to play chess. I used to play Go, which is an Asian board game. I have done drawing. I make music. I go rock climbing. I have a full-time job. It's like a lot of things. I've been playing a lot of poker. I do.
Oh, you play poker?
Things. Yeah.
So, DX Michael also asks, this is a pretty interesting thing.
I'm actually going to a poker tournament tomorrow, so.
Oh, good luck.
Interesting. You have to believe in the heart of the cards.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, sorry, I had to throw
Aww.
a Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
Why?
I think there has to
Why?
be a Yu-Gi-Oh reference in every single interview we do, because I remember
No homo,
yeah,
right?
we all got into some sort of,
What?
yeah, that made no sense. Anyway, yeah, it made no sense.
You don't make no sense.
Anyway, so go on, come on, everyone, professional. All right.
sorry.
DX Michael also asks, this is a pretty interesting thing. How is your story writing that you told me about a while ago going? Can you explain what it's about and how far are you into it?
Well, I did say in the past that I was going to write a story, a short story, which is only a few pages long, but I haven't been able to focus on it. And like I said, if I want to do something, I want to do it right. And if I feel that I can't really do what I want to do, or I don't enjoy what I want to do, then I just don't continue with it. And that's the case with this thing. I started writing it. I realized I'm not very good at writing. Whatever I wrote didn't come out the way I wanted it to. When I reread what I wrote down, it doesn't feel like something I would write or what I would enjoy reading. So I didn't continue with that because I just don't enjoy writing something that I wouldn't enjoy reading, if you know what I mean.
Aw, I was looking forward to her writing.
Of course. Sure.
DX Michael would just want to remind you that he is in fact a Smexy polar bear. Okay, so moving on.
Yes. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I knew he was going to say that as well. Lord Dark Soul asks, what kind of music do you listen to?
I listen to almost every music except for
Dubstep.
actual rap music. I don't
Rap music?
really like. Well, yeah, rap music. It's not my favorite genre of music to say. I do like hip hop. I like rock and roll. I like
Johnson.
heavy metal. I like punk rock music. I like drum and bass. I like house music. I like classical music. I like dubstep. I like all sorts of cool music. I like electro. I like I like a lot of music.
Do you listen to the devil music like
Or like what
something
thing
like
that Phil was talking about in his what do you call it? Supremacy.
That's dark metal, black metal.
Yeah.
But not really. I don't actively listen to it. Let's say it
Like
let's
it's
put it
full
that way.
on
But I'm yeah. But I used to own a CD of Cannibal
Someone
Corpse.
screaming into the
and-
mic.
But yeah, I used to have some CDs like Cannibal Corpse and Soulfly, which are pretty heavy. I still am a big fan of Maximum the Hormone, which is like a Japanese heavy metal pop music band. I
What?
think they have-
Japanese can make heavy metal?
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised with that as well. Didn't expect.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow.
It's quite good. I like it because it has really cool guitar and drums in it.
Cool.
Because like I play
Japanese
guitar
can make great
and
music.
yeah, sometimes.
It just depends
Like,
on
yeah.
it just depends on what you're listening to.
That's true. That's very true.
Lord Dark Souls also asks, okay, I'll let you put in whatever context you want to put this into, but he says if you could change one thing about the past, what would it be? Now, I have no idea what he means by that, where it means some part in history, some part in your life, some part in the website's history, I don't know, but whatever, however you want to adapt that question, feel free to answer it.
Well, if there was one thing I would change, I wouldn't tell you guys, but if I could change two things, I would make sure I have 2 legs.
Okay. Sounds reasonable.
Okay.
Chaz asks a pretty good question. He has, would you, like, you talk about being competitive in gaming earlier and in hobbies. So Chaz asks, would you ever consider going pro in gaming?
I have actually been professional Counter-Strike player for a year.
Oh, wow.
Back when I was 16, I think. 15 or
Oh.
16. I was in the highest ranked guild clan. Sorry, guild clan. The highest ranked clan in the Benelux, which is Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg.
Nice.
They played very competitively. I went to a lot of LANs with them, and after that I trialed with a UK clan, which was a full-blown professional Counter-Strike clan, but I didn't make it in there. I played a few wars with them, but like not on the super competitive level, but yeah, I could make money by winning LAN tournaments and stuff like that. So I guess you could say it's semi-professional, but like we were sponsored and we were doing like 6 hours to 8 hours a day of practice for a big tournament and stuff like that.
Well, if you ever become, pro in Street Fighter, I just want to let you know that Rose is pretty bad in Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 12. She's alright.
I want to see foeZ versus Phil in Street Fighter.
Oh,
I
that would be.
fought Phil and I won.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember
You will find that. Go to DSP Street Fighter. Go to Fan Appreciation Set 1. Yours is the very first video. I think it was Phil playing Hakan versus you playing Rose.
Wait a second. She actually fought him? Oh, I'm watching
Go for
this.
it. do that in the meantime. But that was pretty interesting. That's actually how, because this isn't the first time me and foeZ have met. Because I remember back, way back when playing Street Fighter 4. Your Rose versus, I didn't even know he had played back then, but it was very interesting. And then Amber back when he wasn't a troll, whenever he actually.
Oh god.
He was actually instructed by Phil. Actually said Phil actually wanted to get. I'm not sure what happened, but it was like Phil actually wanted to get somebody else to kind of like help him out in like organizing who to invite for like the Street Fighter sessions. I remember Amber was there for a very long time with like Seth and all there. Those were the days back whenever those were interesting. If you bury long enough, you might find me and foeZ fighting in a few matches, but that's beside the point.
I got a question. I got a quick question. It says from Hazer. He says, "Do you like me?"
Simple enough.
No.
No. Oh. There you go.
Okay.
Nobody
That's
likes
not
us.
sounding no.
Nobody.
Okay, so
Nobody likes Hazard.
funny enough, Captain Fireworks, you
Nobody
actually have
does,
your own
nobody.
question that you actually submit it. And,
Uh-huh.
would you like to read it out?
Yes, I would love
Go for
to.
it.
Dear foeZ.
Denied.
No, that's next question.
Quiet.
Hammered.
What are we saying?
Quiet.
Okay.
I was
Too quiet.
I was wondering, how do you manage taking care of the website and your personal life in unison? How does that work? Do you time manage or treat this as a hobby or as a job to manage the King of Hate website?
It's a bit of both. I consider it a hobby and my job.
Mhm.
When I get up in the morning to go to work, I go to work. First thing I do is open my browser, open the website, and then I start working. Like
I wouldn't do that.
no,
I tried
like
that at- I
the
tried that
entire
at work.
time. The entire time that I'm at work, almost the entire time the website is open, just in case something really important comes up. And I do give my actual job priority over the website. But when something important comes up, I dedicate my lunch break and my breaks in between actual work to dealing with those problems. Like I don't consider the website a job. I consider it a responsibility. But I do enjoy it to a certain extent. I like helping people out, and if I can help someone out by doing something on the forums, I will do it with pleasure.
Cool.
But like, yeah,
Hey guys.
like I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. No.
Okay, like when I am on the website, I may not always be watching the website, but when I do get to my computer, I make sure the first thing I do is check out the website to make sure everything is alright. Like I do other stuff outside of that. A lot of it is on the computer, so I can always keep an eye on the website. When I am not at my computer, I'm either on vacation or doing one of my hobbies like wall climbing, or playing Magic the Gathering with a friend.
Yes.
Okay.
What genuinely surprised me about this interview is the fact that foeZ. I actually thought foeZ's full-time job was managing the forums because she seemed to be on a lot.
Oh yeah.
That's what I thought.
I am on a lot. I think I have clocked over 6 months of total online time now.
Well, I guess that everyone's reaction when foeZ says it's not a full-time job.
That was so corny. You've been waiting to do that, haven't you?
Yes, I've been waiting. I've been waiting like an hour for that, man.
Alright, okay. We don't have that much time left. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but we're still gonna answer the forums question. Some weird random guy, I'm not sure who you know, he's called OG Shadow Knight, I don't know, some new guy. He says, who is your favorite pony and why? Oh, My Little Pony. Go. Continue.
Kill me.
My favorite pony is Rainbow Dash.
Alright, that's it! No more My Little Pony. Okay.
That's
yeah,
enough.
okay.
We've all had our dose.
No, don't worry, there's another question coming up, don't worry. Can you speak some Northern Irish for us? Well, I'm already doing it, so foeZ, you have to do it. Speak some Northern Irish, which apparently is a native language now.
My name
Well,
is Seamus.
if you say something, I will try to say
How
what you
about,
said.
where are our bags? How about that?
Where are our bags?
Woo, good job. That's a classic phrase, and
Say my name is Seamus.
no, that's
Nah.
Southern
Nah, dang, I was hoping.
Ireland. Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland are different, but I'm not going to go into it now because that'll take too long.
Isn't where's Dublin?
Dublin is at the very Oh flip! Why did you choose a geography lesson? Okay, Dublin is at and it's kind of like the middle of the island of Ireland. It's kind of in the middle to the right. Belfast is about 3 hours north from there, but it's about the same position. So, but the thing is, there's a border wrapped around that, which is due to the 1921 Irish partition, and then that sparked into some crazy thing that happened during the Second World War, which
Okay. We don't need a history lesson. All I have to do knows where the heck it is.
Well, there you go. There's your question. OG Shadow Knight also asks, OG Shadow Knight, finally.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is just so unorganized. I do apologize for everyone. But OG Shadow Knight finally concludes with the final question. If you were able to drink only one beer for the rest of your life, which beer would you pick?
Oh,
Carmelit Triple.
Oh.
Oh, what the?
Mr. G asks, why do you pick to play the bass?
Why do I what?
Why do you pick to play the bass? I don't know what that means.
Pick to play the what?
Bass. I think
The bass.
it's like a musical instrument. Not the fish.
Oh, bass. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bass? You said it wrong.
I'm sorry.
Bass. It's not bass.
You said it wrong.
I'm sorry.
I enjoy the bass. It's just, it's really relaxed. It's groovy. It's you can do a lot of fun stuff with the bass, which you can't do with any other instruments. There are different ways to play the bass. Sure, you can play most guitars in several different styles, but I like the urban feel of a bass guitar. Like you can play the bass guitar whenever you play a certain genre of music, like funk or like rock and roll. Playing the bass requires a lot of different techniques. But when you play a guitar, for example, you can play the guitar the same way, but tuning it differently. Like you can just put it in a different tune and then play heavy metal, and then you can just put in a different tune and you can play ska music, if that makes any sense. But like when you do the bass, you can also tune it differently, but it won't really fit to the genre of music that you are trying to play. Like if you look at the bassist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and compare him to the bassist of I don't know, something more pop music, you can tell that the techniques that they use is like completely different. It's just like worlds apart. Mm-hmm. And you can have someone that's specialized in a certain style, and they can't play other styles, and you can have a guitarist that plays a certain style, can play other styles. But when you pick up both instruments and you try to learn a different style, I find that it's more difficult to master a different style of playing on a bass guitar than on a normal guitar or a piano or whatever.
Wow.
It's just my opinion. I enjoy it. I like the variety. A lot of people say like a bass is just a guitar with less strings, but nothing has ever been less true.
You know, I did not expect to spend like 5 minutes on that question, but that's alright.
Sorry.
No, it's alright.
And one last question from Dark.
Whoa, we're not done yet. We still got some questions left. Don't worry. Mano asks, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Raphael.
Must be asked.
Yeah, Raphael.
Oh, he's badass.
Raphael's my favorite turtle. I used to play with the Ninja Turtle dolls when I was younger, so I always picked Raphael in the Ninja Turtles games. So yeah, he's just my favorite.
Hear about Michael Bay like changing turtles to like mutants? No, to aliens.
What?
Next question. Let's just not get into that.
Yeah, just stop. Just stop right there.
The Lemon asks, what's the best gift you've ever received?
The best gift I ever received? Yes. It would have to be a wedding ring.
See?
I know it's cheesy, but like a wedding ring, that's it. That's gift ever.
That's the best gift ever.
Do you know?
It is.
Anyway, also Neo Swags asks, what are your thoughts on brownies? I don't think I need a definition.
You mean brownies?
Whatever, I don't know. Sorry, my inner Hulk Hogan just came out there. Brownies.
Well, brownies or brownies are different stuff, because brownies are delicious and brownies are overrated. Like, you have brownies who are hardcore fans of My Little Pony, and they try to convince everyone to watch the show. I don't agree with that. I do enjoy it, but I don't think that you should force other people to be like you are.
Exactly.
The Infected Hunter asks, this is the second to last question, do you prefer Mac or PC? Simple question.
Well, PC, because I have never used a Mac. I have no idea. So I can't say if I like Mac or PC, because I've only used a PC, so PC.
Once you go Mac, you can't go back. Okay, and
I don't know.
Once you get in, you can't get out.
I don't know. Okay, and the final question to ask foeZ comes from none other than Dark to the Side to the Phil, DSP Dark Side Phil.
That makes no sense.
Doesn't matter. And question.
Quiet.
What game?
You quiet.
Okay.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
okay. Dark Side Phil asks, what game do you really want to see me play this year?
Diablo 3.
Your face.
That's-
Diablo
Oh
3.
yeah, Diablo 3. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good.
That's
Mhm.
it. That is all the forum questions that we have.
yeah.
So I think that is pretty much it. foeZ, where can we find out more information about you? Like, do you have Twitter? Do you have a YouTube, etc.?
Nope.
Oh wow!
Well, I do have a YouTube, but I'm not gonna
Ooh.
share it.
You can
Aww.
follow.
Please?
You can follow me on YouTube at DSP Cult Leader. Wait, what?
Wait, no, P-Dog, turn off the recording equipment. Then folks can give us your
No.
YouTube. Oh.
Maybe after.
Alright. So anyway,
We'll see.
so I think that's about it for a good interview, a good almost 2-hour interview. We would like to thank foeZ for being the second King of Hate podcast guest and a pretty appropriate one at that. So thank you very much for being on the podcast as a second guest.
Thank you.
Do I get a slow clap?
And okay, yeah, okay,
That's not a slow
okay,
clap.
a slow clap, okay.
What? How did he knife that shot me?
There
Right.
we go. There we go.
Also, I would like
Sorry.
to thank
Sorry.
making podcast history for being the first female on the podcast. How do you feel? Woo!
Wait, what?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
How is she the first female on the podcast? That makes no sense. Here, know what?
I thought, I thought Double Rush was girls.
So,
Not again.
so anyway, we would like to thank foeZ for being the second member of the podcast. I think it was a pretty successful interview. We did get a lot of stuff covered, and stay tuned for next week's podcast. So from all of us, we want to thank foeZ for being on the podcast, and we will all see you next week. Thanks.